going today, farm fans? If you can see behind me, we got our plow on, Ford 4-bottom plow. We're going to go over here to one of our fields and do a little plowing here today. So we'll get a little footage of that and have a good time. We got the MX100C on the plow. We'll head over here and we'll get some shots of plowing. So stay tuned for that. Plowing. As you can see there, you probably can see some black specks in the field. That is some biodegradable, I guess it's called plastic, but it's biodegradable. We plant our pumpkins and gourds and stuff on raised beds with the black plastic over them. Our growing season sometimes is a little bit short, and it really helps the pumpkins to speed along. The black, but we found that plowing, which is for most people a rather old-fashioned concept, when you're trying to do the raised beds, it really gives you enough loose soil that the bed maker sorry, I'm watching the plow here, can make a nice firm planting bed. If you just were to go through and disc this and only had a couple inches of loose soil on top and then it was kind of packed underneath, you would have a hard time getting that raised bed to collect enough material to pack nice. We've tried, chisel plowing, and we have a big field cultivator and stuff like that we've tried, but it just, this helps control the weeds a little bit more. There's actually some little weeds. I don't know if you guys can see the green on the camera or not, but there's actually some weeds starting to grow now, so this just helps completely roll them under. But yeah, as I said earlier in the video, this is our only four-wheel drive tractor at this point. If anybody has been watching any of our other videos, you might have seen a 5220, 5230, and there was even a McCormick, what was it, an X470, I think was the model number. We no longer have any of those tractors. We have this MX100C, and we have two 5140s. So back to our tractor talk. Yeah, so one of the original four-wheel drives we had was the 5220. For those not familiar, that is a four-cylinder engine turbocharged in the 5220. Honestly, it was rated about 90 horse or 88 or something like that, and I believe that was the engine horsepower. And honestly, I didn't really notice a lack of power with it. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to buy another 5220 or 5120. But the reason I got rid of that tractor it was the main chore tractor, and I upgraded to the 5230 because I wanted a power shift tractor. So yeah, that was the only reason I got rid of that tractor, was because I wanted a power shift. And at the time, the farm was still a little bit smaller. Not that we've grown a lot since that point, but we have grown some. And I did not have the monthly budget to be able to keep that tractor as well as afford a power shift version. So that's where the 5230 came into play. That is the 6-cylinder 5.9 Cummins that had a power shift in it. And I had that for about, geez, I want to say I went about a season or so with it. And that was it. The 5230, again, with the 5.9 Cummins, that 5230 is not turbocharged. So in the field, it was fine. If I got out on the road with it, to me, now maybe there was something else wrong with it. I had some mechanics check it out, and they turned the pump up on it a little bit. But I had better luck on the road, on the hills, with the 5220 and the 4-cylinder with the turbo than I did the naturally aspirated 5230. And there was times that moving, towing a lime spreader, that I honestly didn't think I was going to make it up the mountain. I mean, I was not in road gear anymore. I was down in field gears trying to run a big hill, and you get traffic behind you and whatnot, and I said, well, this just isn't working. So I could have put a turbo on the 5230. There's a lot of guys that say that's what they do. But I also talked to a few people that do a lot of diesel mechanic work, and they were a little bit hesitant of it. This mechanic had concerns that some of the internal parts of that engine were not constructed to be used in conjunction with the turbocharger. So I don't know. It made me a little bit nervous. I trust the guy that I was talking to about it. He doesn't sell farm equipment and stuff, but again, he's a diesel mechanic, so it made me nervous about doing it, that I didn't want something to happen and then have to replace a motor or something like that. So in the end, it was just better for me to go ahead and get rid of the tractor and upgrade to something a little bit different. So that's where the tractor we're in now comes into play. This was the replacement tractor for the 5230. So this is more horsepower than the 5230. It is turbocharged, which is really nice. Again, we do so much road travel. It's really nice out there on the hills because the turbo, I mean, obviously it kicks in on the way up the hill, but on the way down the hill, it helps to slow you down some, so we're not braking near as much. And that was one of the things I liked about the 5220. That tractor, you could get yourself right into a gear, and if you didn't have a huge load on, you pretty much didn't have to touch the brakes on the way down the hill. But anyway, so that's where this MX100 came into play, and so far it's been good. So that's just a brief, hopefully not boring, history on the tractors and what we have and whatnot. Oh, but I did want to mention, excuse me, the McCormick tractor that we had. It was in a few videos, and I was a little hesitant about getting a new tractor, but McCormick came out with these new models, And of course, anybody who knows anything about Case International stuff knows that a lot of the McCormick tractors, the ag side, was the same as the Case International stuff. In 2003, I believe, Case International sold their products, I guess you'd say, to McCormick when they merged with New Holland to become CNH. And so there's a lot of McCormick models out there that the cab is going to look identical to this tractor. A lot of stuff will be identical to this tractor if you look at it. It's basically a different paint scheme, and I don't honestly think they changed a whole lot else about those tractors, because they're pretty bulletproof, and I don't know why you'd mess with them. So what McCormick decided to do was not mess with them, but just discontinue them altogether. And I think they designed their own tractors. I don't think the new McCormicks are built by anybody, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so the one I got, they had these great lease deals on them. You know, they were new tractors. They wanted to get them out to the market. People start seeing them and you know, kind of grab their share of the market. So they had these great programs. And when I say lease, it was a lease, but at the end, you own the tractor. So I believe it was 0% too. They were really trying to move the tractors. But so the tractor that I had there in those videos, if you haven't seen it and you're interested in what it looks like, you can go back and watch a couple of the videos. But it had a loader, 4-wheel drive. It was about 110 horse, I think. And sorry, watching what I'm doing here. The original price on the tractor was about $61,000 is what it would have been. But again, with the lease deal that I got, it was spread out over so many years with 0%. It was really made it very affordable. It was pretty much the same price as going and buying a used tractor. So I said, all right, well, we'll do this. I like McCormick. Well, the tractor I had was a piece of junk. There was so many things wrong with it, and being that they were so new, you know, that was about the first year that they had come out with these. You know, they knew there was issues, but the tractors hadn't been out long enough for people to be able to, the company, to really rectify or be aware of all the issues. But shortly after I got it, there was a light coming on the dash. There was a hydraulic transmission filter, and the light that was coming on said the filter was plugged. So I stopped running the tractor, called the dealer, and they said, oh yeah, they're having problems with these sensors. Don't worry about it, just ignore it. And I said, well, you know, sometimes on a new tractor things can happen, and all of a sudden you got a bunch of shavings, and oh no, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Alright. So there was that, and then the fuel tank, when it got warm, when the temperature outside, I bought the tractor when it was still cold. It was like March or something. But by the time I hit the summer, you know, it has plastic fuel tank on it, and the fuel tank would expand to the point that it was rubbing on the loader frame, and it had a deep gouge in it, and I thought it was going to end up putting a hole in the tank. So I made them aware of that, and there was just a million little things with the tractor, and they ended up coming to fix some of the stuff. And you know, the dealer did this. I was not about to do it, but their fix at the point that I still own the tractor for the light coming on for the oil filter was they unplugged the sensor. So if something really did happen, you'd never know, because the light's never going to come on because the sensor's unplugged. That was their fix. But the final straw for me with that tractor was I was coming down the mountain, the one I keep talking about in this video, and I had a load of hay behind me, and all of a sudden the tractor, it just went to an idle. I couldn't shift it, I could steer it, and I had brakes, but I couldn't do anything else with the tractor. None of the other electronics in the cab worked. So I basically had to use the brakes and coast it to the bottom of the mountain. I got it off, you know, of course, the side of the road there. And I had to call somebody to come get me. We towed the thing home, and so I call them and told them what happened. Oh yeah, there's a ground issue. We need to get that fixed. It's just a ground issue, no big deal. Well, I guess when you say it like that, yeah, it's a ground. So what they did was they had to come up and they had to clean one or two of the grounds on the cab, an electrical ground on the cab. So yeah, when you say it like that, it doesn't sound like much, but you take it into the context of where I had the issue. And you know, part of the reason I decided to get a new tractor was some of the people that helped me out, one of them being my wife. And you know, these people aren't as experienced with tractors as I am. I've been driving tractors before my feet could barely touch the floor. So things like that don't bother me. I don't panic or whatever, but you know, if my wife had been in that tractor, she may have not have known what in the world to do. And you know, God forbid the thing got away from her and she got hurt or ended up in the other lane and somebody hit her, then it would have been a big deal. So you know, when you think about it that way, to me, it was a lot bigger of a deal than them just saying, oh yeah, we need to clean a ground. So that was the end of that tractor. I took a huge loss on it when I got rid of it, but I just couldn't see keeping it. It was just issue after issue. It was costing me time, and with the ground thing, to me, it was a safety problem. So I just wasn't going to deal with it anymore, and away the tractor went. So some of you might not have done that, you know, but I just felt it was the best decision for us. So I will never buy a new McCormick tractor again. I do not mind the old ones, again, because they're the same as basically what we're riding in right now. But the new ones, never again. And I was really disappointed in the company and I mean, not so much the dealer, a little bit. I mean, their hands are tied to a certain point. But, you know, I actually, when I was having these issues, a rep from the company came out and looked the tractor over. We discussed all the stuff, and I never heard from the guy again. Never called me up and said, hey, are you still having issues? You know, hey, we found a solution to this problem or whatever. Nothing. Never heard from the guy again. So, at least in my area, that's the type of service you're going to get from the company, and it's kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. So, there you go. There is my long and boring tractor update for anybody who is interested in that. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this field done, and I will catch up with you guys when I'm all done. Finished our plowing for today. There's a little bit more to do yet, but we'll come back and get that another day. So here's just a little shot of what we've been plowing with from the outside, because I don't think you guys really got to see too much. The MX100C and Ford 4-bottom plow, and I actually don't know what the model number of the plow is, but it's a pretty nice plow. It's nice with the 4-bottom. It has the wheel in the back that takes the weight, so it's not all on the well, I don't want to say 3-point hitch because it's a 2-point hookup, but I'm just letting the tractor cool down. So, but you can put a hydraulic cylinder in here, so if you're doing a lot of work on hills, you can slide this one way or the other to compensate for that off tracking that you'd have if you were, you know, on the side of a slope. So that's kind of neat, but again, we don't use it a lot. It was an auction purchase a few years ago, but you know, it works pretty good. So we got that field down there done, a couple acres there, and I'm standing in about an acre or so here. There's, like I said, there's still a piece over here that needs to be done, but we're going to come back and do that another time. So just something a little bit different. We're finally getting into a little warmer weather. Again, we have some rain coming, so we'll be working back in the garage probably for about the rest of the week. And you know, we have some projects in there to do. So hopefully you made it through my rambly video. I just wanted to explain a couple things about the tractors and just kind of make sure everybody was updated on what tractors we have and why we have what we have, you know. So thanks for watching, everybody, if you made it this far in the video, because I haven't edited it yet, but I imagine it's going to be a little bit longer. I'll try and keep it close to 20 minutes or so, but I think I probably have 40 minutes of footage or so to try and condense down. And I think that's a problem that a lot of YouTube creators have. You end up with a lot of footage, and at a certain point, you know, you got to cut a lot of it out because people don't want to sit there for 45 minutes and watch something. So, but once again, thanks everybody for watching. I'm falling over the dirt. And please hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon. You'll be notified of the projects we have coming up. We are trying to grow the channel a little bit, so every subscription helps. I really appreciate all of them. I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.